So I woke up at about 6 a.m. today, so not nearly as early as I did yesterday, but still a little early for Mr. Dominic. I'm gonna just kind of give a walking tour of the building a little bit. So this is Dominic's front door. He's actually got a separate mail slot here for like actual mail, and he has a different mailbox downstairs for like junk mail, which is interesting that the Japanese decided to split things up like that. So down the hallway, Dominic's on the seventh floor. So we've got kind of like this one balcony here, and I was showing this like the other day. So there's some construction going on down here. And there's been some guys that were doing some work down here with like a really small tractor. You can actually see the little tractor guy sitting over there, that backhoe. It's got, and I've seen a lot of other apartments with this sort of similar setup, where there actually is a open air staircase. I don't actually know like the situation with rain here, but it kind of looks like it's sort of designed to sort of handle that. So I see a lot of like little grooves down here, like all over the places. So pretty much well designed. Dominic actually does have a little elevator here. We kind of did like a little journey here. So this building actually does have 8 stories, and we went upstairs to see if we could actually get up on the roof. And it looks like you can if you're willing to jump over like a small, like locked iron fence. And I didn't actually try it, and Dominic didn't actually try it, but we're both sort of satisfied that we could actually do it if we wanted. So I'm trying to be quiet because Dominic's actually still sleeping. So this apartment's actually really nice. It looks very sort of IKEA-ish, but it's like super Japanese in the way that everything is like very, very compact. European style toilet, sink, bathroom with a shower. Outside he's got like a combined washer dryer unit, which I actually was pretty impressed by. So the place that I was staying before had a high efficiency washer dryer, but they had to have like 2 of these, right? So took up twice as much space. Little propane range, very small oven for like toasting your sandwiches and what have you. This is where Dominic put me up. It's got an apartment-sized kitchen. It's got sliding walls over here, so Dominic's actually sleeping on the other side there. And this would be Dominic's like actual patio, just like I'd say like pretty reasonable size. That little thing right there would be like his air conditioning unit. I don't know if you can like see this or not, but there's like a I don't know, mesh here. That's actually to keep the birds out. So I guess the Japanese are very uncooperative when it comes to, or are unhappy when like birds start to like poop on things. So looks like they've gone to a lot of effort to try and like implement those technologies. So anyways, this is like the train station. This red thing here, you can't really see the sign I think from this far away, but that's like a local McDonald's, and there's not really anything like outrageous in there. Like it's very similar to the stuff that you would see like back in Canada. Although they do have like a few sandwiches that are like a little bit different, but nothing so different that you'd say that that's a very like Japanese burger. So over here, I don't know if I can quite see it. Anyway, so there's a 7-Eleven over here, or a 7-Eleven department store, because 7-Eleven, the chain here, is actually a lot bigger than, or more inclusive than what we would see at home. And it seems to be the case that all the train lines and all the department stores, they're all connected to each other, so they're actually very large, like conglomerates. So in the case of like this train line here, this is one line that connects into Tokyo. This line is actually owned by a department store, so not necessarily at this station, but I think at the next station up there's actually a large like department store that is right above like the train station, so all of your shopping you would go and do there. And it's more than just like traditional department stores as we would call it. There's actually groceries and things like that all kind of knitted inside of it. So it's kind of interesting in that sense, and it does kind of make sense that like, you know, big companies would kind of like try and stitch all these things together, one, to kind of make more money, and two, it seems like they do a lot here designed for like the convenience of people, so they kind of know that people don't want to go to 6 different stores when they could just go to one. So I thought I'd spend a few minutes just kind of taking a look at Dominic's neighborhood, like now during the daytime. Mostly because I hadn't actually done it before, and it's still a little early for me to shake the man out of bed so we can go and go on some adventures together. We're talking about possibly going to the Animation Museum today, so I'm looking forward to that. So, in very short, this is now like the other side of the train station that I was just showing you. So Dominic's got like a little karaoke shop that's pretty close by. I suspect a lot of the entertainment you would see around here is geared not just towards the Japanese, but towards Americans, because there's I think I mentioned before, this like I guess like an American garrison not too far away, and Dominic's got some buddies over there. You see pretty much this thing everywhere you go. You'll see it in like train stations, and you'll see it just like on the street. It's just kind of like the standard Japanese drink vending machine with a bunch of miscellaneous brands that I'm not necessarily familiar with. I noticed this one doesn't have like Coca-Cola in it, which is a little different because most of them seem to have at least that. Like that's the one sort of brand I'm familiar with. There actually is such a thing as a parking lot for bicycles, and so Dominic was telling me that if you don't park in one of these, you're actually supposed to license your bicycle here. I don't think I don't know. I think it's possible to have a bicycle that isn't licensed, but if you say we're to just lock it up, say that lamppost over there, you actually get a ticket for that. Let's see, another little bar. Kind of down at the end is a convenience store. There's about 4 chains here that seem to like dominate. 7-Eleven being one of them. This one's one of the other ones. They have like a pretty full spectrum of different things you can go and grab in there. So if you really needed to, you could go and get like a replacement undershirt and some undergarments and some things like that, which actually isn't really maybe that outrageous because you can already get things like fingernail clippers and different kinds of like small containers of like hair products maybe. Example, people driving on the wrong side of the street. I almost died. Let's see. The Japanese do recycle, or sort of, I guess. It's a container for like for plastic bottles, non-combustible garbage and combustible garbage, which maybe implies to me that they might actually just be like burning their stuff. The convenience stores are actually not that bad of a place to kind of grab food on the go. Like it seems to be like of reasonable quality, at least from what I've experienced thus far. And let's see, more bicycles, possibly not appropriately locked up. I see some scooters, but not as many scooters as I would think. Seems that because of the ubiquity of the train system here, that seems to be the way that most people get around. And things like using a car or using like a bicycle. Like using a bicycle is kind of, I guess, if you want to use a bicycle or if you want to kind of get around in just small distances. Using a car seems to be a prestige thing, so it costs a lot of money and you can't have it on the road for very long. So Dominic actually confirmed with me that you're not supposed to have a car, drivable car, that's older than 10 years. So I guess it's like a big industry in Japan to resell your cars once they pass that 10-year mark, to go to developing countries. So they'll go to places like, African countries and things like that. Good news with that is like the Japanese take pretty good care of their cars, so they're actually pretty high quality when they get over there, so they'll continue to last for like a long time. Maybe I just show this. I'm now on the opposite side of Dominic's apartment. So I'm not sure if this is like a private residence or not. This is right next to, I don't know, kind of like another like apartment building. This will probably like amuse my dad. So this is like someone's like little parking pad like right behind their condo. And I've seen a few of these around. Some of the places that I've been walking. The place that I was gonna go happened to be like right in the middle of like a little residential area. I'll show that one too. So literally like as much space or as little space as you could possibly get away with in the mailbox. But anyways, so the Japanese do seem to take care of making sure that there's at least some greenery like in kind of like their living space. And this is kind of like the most impressive example of that. I'm not exactly sure what kind of tree you would call this. It's like an evergreen tree. And try not to like peer into someone's life. So if I see anybody actually hanging out in this backyard, I'm gonna have to duck beneath this fence. Alright. You can kind of see down there someone's taken like a hedge and actually like cut it like around the fence. And same thing over here. And yeah, some more fun looking trees back here. Oh, yeah. And somebody's got their fence up for a little bit of privacy. And back over here, see more cars. Alright, so I think what I'm going to try and do now is I'm going to go to the 7-Eleven department store and take a walk around. I'm kind of fascinated by the dump truck here, but I'm trying not to be too much of a tourist about it. Okay, so I covered a lot of ground yesterday. Like, I visited a lot of like the major districts. So today's a little bit more of like, kind of like a mop-up of sort of the things that I really wanted to get done sort of before I left. So I was telling you yesterday, I accidentally found Hachiko. The other celebrity I'm looking for today is Asimo. So like Asimo, for anyone who doesn't remember, it's like a little like Japanese robot that they've been making different versions of over the years. So my challenge now, I'm at the Shinjuku station, so like one of the major hubs. The challenge now is to see if I can kind of like navigate my way like over there. I think it's actually like a museum of like lots of different kind of robotic stuff, so this might be like a longer trip just to go to, rather than just going to spend like 2 seconds looking at the latest version of Asimo, but he's the only Japanese celebrity I know, so I'm gonna go find him. So I'm sorry to say that Asimo was kind of a bust. So when I followed the directions like in the guidebook to get all the way over here, I had to take like a bunch of different trains, then I had to take like a special like monorail train into this kind of island area called Obadawa. Yeah, I think that was it. And he's in kind of like sort of like the equivalent of like the Edmonton Space and Science Center, and so I missed. He only does like 2 like showings, I guess, a day because you know he's a busy man. And so the first one was like an hour before I got here, and the next one's like a few hours after now. And I don't really think it's probably going to be like worth the time to wait. So I looked at a picture of Asimo, and I'm just gonna have to limit myself to images on YouTube, I guess. So. There's not a whole lot to do like in this area, so it's pretty much just turn around and go back. So I kind of killed a couple of hours here for no good reason. So there may yet be something to this little trip out here. So this building, I don't know how well you can see it, but that is the Fuji Television building. So you can kind of see they did some funky stuff with the architecture because there's a giant sphere kind of being suspended over nothing. But you can't really see it, but like there's like, kind of right around here, there's like the head of like a giant moving robot. So I gotta say I'm a little curious, so I'm gonna go sneak a little closer and probably see if I can see what's what. So I don't really know what to make of that. Doesn't really seem to be doing too much. There seem to be a lot of people also here like very eagerly going through this little turnstile here so you can stand under his crotch. So I was on my way back to meet Dominic and talk about going to the Animation Museum. But I had to make a quick side trip here. I was reading about this on the way back. So if you've ever heard the story of the 47 Ronin, there's like a magistrate who, due to some political reason, gets ordered by the emperor to go and commit ritual suicide. That leaves like these 47 samurai that were working for him to be called the Ronin. So they were masterless samurai, and they actually conspired against the person that like engineered his death. So this is actually where they're enshrined. So the master here, and then the 47 samurai, and so it's kind of become like this really famous story of, you know, I don't even really know what, but it's sort of famous story in Japan that kind of really has a lot of cultural significance. So I thought it was worth like a quick story. Alright, so I'm actually now out with Dominic. Dominic just snuck away to grab something to drink. Dominic invited me to go and hang out with his friend Steve. Steve's another expat that lives here. Happens to work like the next building over from where Dominic works. Steve is from South Africa. We actually went to like not Chinatown, but like Koreatown, because there's a lot of Koreans that like live and work here, which is kind of interesting because you go there, you can kind of tell like everything here has cartoon characters attached to it, and there it's like Korean cartoon characters, which look a little bit different, sound a little bit different. It's just sort of interesting to see. And the food is for sure way different. They use a lot more louder flavors, so we kind of had dinner all together. Now we're in Akihabara, and Akihabara, the city kind of does a lot of like splitting itself up into different sections depending on whatever the theme of that section might be. So there's like a government section, and like the corporate finance section, and then there's like the main Madison Avenue kind of fashion section. So this, which I'll show in a second, is all like the electronics center. So like behind me, what I'm going to show in a second is like there are malls here where they do nothing but sell electronics. So right behind us, or right behind you, I guess, is like an entire mall that's nothing but like video games. So the whole thing is an arcade. So we're going to do like a lap around, and when you hear about things where it's like, you know, a cafe that you go to that you're being served by robots, for example, this is where it is. Or if you want to see like a market that has a lot of like really miscellaneous like gadgets and stuff like that, this is the place where you come and find all this. Alright, so literally this is all I've seen so far. I actually saw like a maid walk by because they get to sort of like a famous like maid cafe where they just, it's like a regular cafe but they dress up in maid costumes, which I think is a thing you'll probably see like different versions of depending on where you go. So this whole building, according to Dominic before he ran off to the convenience store, this is like a video game arcade, so different floors are dedicated to different things. So the way I guess I can tell, according to him, is that when it says Sega, it's not just a video game platform that kind of went belly up in the 80s and the 90s. That's just kind of like a family that does nothing but like video game stuff. So it's kind of like a broader spectrum of different products all kind of sewn together under that brand name.
So as we go around, this is going to be the areas of Tokyo that you're going to walk around and see like a lot of really bright colors, and that's actually something I haven't taken any photos of yet. So I'm actually looking forward to trying making that happen today.